Welcome to my Monday morning podcast for Monday, June the 23rd, 2025. Had a really amazing week last week. A lot of things that I want to share, so please bear with me, and I hope the experience is worthwhile for you to listen to. So, I think it's so important that, we have in-depth conversations with people these days, especially people who are friends, people you respect, and, have really a whole range of conversations. So I was with a friend in Oakville last week, and I go and visit him when I'm doing business in the Halton region and GTA, and also when I play in competitive squash tournaments. So I was playing in the squash tournament, and we were doing some Area 81 work with one of our members at our Halton office. And a couple of things that really came out from conversations with him that I wanted to share. The first was about your blood type and the diet that you should consider based on what your blood type is. Eye-opening, just eye-opening in terms of healthy, organic food eating, but in the context of what's the best food for your blood type. Eye-opening. And this gentleman is 63. He's extremely lean. He's very fit. Great outlook on life. Just somebody who, has a lot to teach me about living well, balance, that sort of thing. He's an entrepreneur. He's just starting another company with a Chinese manufacturer in the mining industry, as an example. The other thing that came up was, because he's international in the sense that he has conversations with people in other countries, you get to get a perspective from people like that in terms of what it's like, to work with people in other countries, and whether some of the things that you hear or see in the mass media or rumors you hear about specific countries are fully accurate or accurate at all. So he talked about two things that really stuck in my mind. One was the Chinese approach to pricing. And I'm not going to be specific about what he's going to be offering the mining sector, but I'll give you numbers. So this product is used in the mining industry, and it costs $150,000 per unit if you buy it from Canadian or US based suppliers. China sells it for $65,000. So my buddy said, well, there's a heck of a lot of range in there in terms of upside, in terms of pricing. You could sell it for $100,000, and you could end up, selling lots because it's $50,000 less than what the competition charges. And what was very interesting is the Chinese contact said, no, we want to sell it at $65,000, and we want to sell as many as possible. We do not want to take the short-term upside in terms of, charging more because others charge more. But think about that. That's a long-term strategy, the way I look at it is, they figure that if they sell this product at $65,000, they're going to penetrate the market faster. It will be reliably priced. There's enough margin in it, for them. They're not sort of opportunistic. They're looking at their costs. They're looking at what they think they should price it at, and they have a long-term strategy in terms of market penetration. That's a very long-term thinking. They don't think quarter to quarter. They think long-term. They're thinking long-term domination of a specific industry, not opportunistic sales opportunities based on competitive pricing. just think about that in terms of either working with the Chinese or working against them in terms of the markets that you market into. The other thing that he told me about was this, remember they used to have this rule that you could only have one child, and there are these rumors, and I don't know how true this is, but maybe it was true, so maybe it isn't a rumor, where if they had a girl, the girls were left out, unfortunately, and sad story, they were put out to pasture, so to speak, or somehow disposed of. I can't think of a better word. Very macabre idea of thinking. And he didn't believe that that was the case. I'm sure there's some evidence that might suggest otherwise. But he said, that the families never had a second child because they would be fined $1 million if they had a second child. Now, the only pushback I have on that, and that now you can have up to 3 kids. If you have a fourth, then it's $1 million fine, according to this gentleman. Now, I can see perhaps the situation where somebody accidentally had another child and they brought it to term, and a second child, and then somehow the Chinese family didn't want to, couldn't afford the $1 million. So I don't know what would have happened in those incidents, and it's just horrifying to think about what may have happened. But that gives you an idea of where China's going in terms of their population control. They're now up to 3 people, 3 kids per family. The fourth one, there's going to be $1 million fine, according to this gentleman. So pretty interesting insights. And China, whether you agree with their political approach, whether you agree with some of their methods, they are a force to reckon with. And as an entrepreneur, we need to think about how their goals, aspirations, and aggressive growth plans will factor into what we're doing with our small businesses, or with startups, or with scale-ups. The reality is China is becoming, or already is, a superpower, and it's heading upwards, and North America, unfortunately, is plateauing or heading downwards. I could go into more details about why, but China is a force to reckon with, and building business relationships with people in China, exploring ways to build relationships with people in China, critical. And with all due respect to the current administration in the U.S., there is no chance that manufacturing will come back to the United States in this generation, the next generation, maybe 3-4 generations from now. There are other things that we need to figure out how to compete. And China is now going to compete in technology, new technology like artificial intelligence with DeepSeek. So hop onto the roller coaster, because we need to figure out ways to work with China and China entrepreneurs so that we can accelerate our businesses here in Canada, North America, whatever. Next thing I'll talk about is played in a squash tournament over the weekend. I was playing in the B competition. Now I'm 61, so it's very interesting. I'll either play in a B level squash tournament. A is the higher level before you go to pro, and I used to play A level, but I'm just not at that level in terms of my ability to compete. So I went down to the B level, and that's a really good comfort level for me. So I'll either play in a B tournament or I'll play in a Masters tournament, 60 plus. And it's such a difference between the two. When you're playing against people who are your own age group, the rhythm of the rallies are a lot slower. You're not playing against a 22-year-old, 23-year-old that can run down everything. So that it's a fundamentally different game. So what I do is I use B tournaments to sort of build my physical competency, my physical foundation, so that when I do play in the Masters next season, I'll be even more fitter, and have a better chance of achieving my goal of winning the Canadians. So what happened this weekend was a bit of a setback. I was in the quarter. I was playing in the quarterfinals, and I was playing this unbelievably fit young man, 24-ish, 25-ish, I want to say. I mean, his legs were the size of my waist, and he was, not an inch of fat on him, and could run down every ball. So every rally was long, which extended, obviously, put a lot of pressure on me in terms of my aerobic system and my physical structure, my legs especially my legs. And I was up 2-1. It was the fourth game, and I was up 9-7, and I went into the back corner of the squash court, and I literally felt like something cracked in the inside of my right leg on the back, right kind of near the groin area. And it really felt like I snapped something. So that's commonly known as a rupture. I was able to finish that game, and I won the match 3-1, which was great. But I was badly injured. So I thought to myself, okay, well, there's a chance I won't be able to play in the semis, which would be sad, but I was going to give it a night, see what it was like the next day. And lo and behold, the next day, I could hardly walk. And today, I'm still having difficulty walking. I don't think I ruptured it, but it's not a good injury, needless to say. So I defaulted. So what that taught me is, for next year's season, I need to take that game and think about, building my quads and my lower body in such a way that I don't get injured. And I guess what's important about that, like some people say, well, you're 61, you shouldn't be playing young people. And I say, bullshit. I'm going to keep playing at the B level until the day I die. So even when I'm 100, I'll be playing the B level, defying odds. By the way, which is something that I believe people who are my age, who are thinking about starting a business, should start one anyway. Defy the odds. Oh, you're too old to start a business. You don't have enough time to start a business. What are you going to do? You're just out of touch. And with that, I say bullshit. So next year I'll be playing B tournaments and 60-plus tournaments, and we'll see how it goes. What else can I talk about? Oh, a couple things for Area 81. I'd like to do a quick update on Area 81 to the vast amount of people that are listening to my podcasts. It's quite comical. I'll probably do a little bit about my view count at some point in time, because obviously I'm putting myself out there as a marketer. It's like, what, your podcast can't go viral? Not right now. But is that the only reason why I'm doing these? No. But can I make them go viral? Maybe someday. It would be nice, and I'm going to figure out ways to get the view count up. But that's not my primary objective. I stated before, my primary objective is to have a living record of my life that my kids and my grandkids can listen to. Yeah. So Area 81. So quickly, going to be meeting with the founding members this week. There's some pretty interesting developments that are happening. We're going to actually launch Area 81 officially in the fall. We have members that are actively participating in Area 81 ventures, in Area 81 related activities. We just haven't, been noisy about it. We've just been plugging away, sort of, baking the cake, seeing what's working, trying some things, experimenting, that sort of thing. So, so in terms of Area 81, we've got some things planned in September, including some meetups and some virtual events geared towards getting funded. So I'm just working on that right now, but basically there are 5 ways in which a venture can get funded, right? One is through customers, which is ideally the best way. But in some cases, it's not always the only way that you can bootstrap your business is through customer-based funding. So the other ones include friends and family. So where you're putting your hand out and saying, "Hey, can you invest your money in this idea?" Then there's grants and gifting, which is either from the government or through some competitions like Hawk's Nest or Dragon's Den, where the money is gifted, not invested. Even though it says invested in some of the marketing communications materials that these organizations send out, the investment is time of the entrepreneur, and the money that they contribute to that venture for that entrepreneur is gifted. So no discussions about cap tables, no discussions about equity, no discussions about anything of that nature. Yeah, so the first one is customer funding, the second one is friends and family, the third one is grants through government and gifting. The fourth is debt. So that's from organizations like Futurepreneur, Business Development Bank of Canada, banks, credit unions, your credit card, that sort of thing. And then finally, equity. So, if somebody wants to invest in your company, they are going to invest for equity in your business. It's that simple. So that's going to be part of the Get Funding series that we're going to launch in September for Area 81 members and the public at large. But Area 81 members will have some additional special things we're going to offer to them. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for listening, and we'll look forward to chatting next week.